Oh, jeez. Oh, Kommodi's on a roll.
It's like he's really here. Where did you get that?
This thing?
The pig.
Someone gave this to me. This is a gift.
That's a gift?
Yeah, it was a gift.
That's the best gift you've ever been given.
It's like my own personal baker.
Oh my God.
My own personal Kommodi.
We got
Jeez.
Abraham Lincoln,
Abraham Stinkin.
Chris P. Bacon.
Chris P. Bacon. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. This is Chris P. Bacon.
Oh boy. Welcome to 99 Stories, and this is one.
Oh.
We're the imaginary cookies, and we're in Joe's Kraken Lagoon.
my
We're in,
Joe's crack.
we're in Joe's Kraken cracking him up.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
What is it?
Yeah, sure. It's
Yeah, it's like that. Well, we're back. Hopefully, you guys have been good. People listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
I can report that it's true. I did a gig yesterday, and some friends of mine, I'll shout them out. It's Travis and Darcy. Not only said that they're listeners, but they repeated some lines
Oh no.
that we'd said, like, "Oh, when you said this," and they like were spitting off some of the, an old episode. And I'm like, "No shit."
That's awesome.
So thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
We've been having a real nice time doing this. It's a lot of fun, and it's nice to know that you guys like it too. So we'll keep doing it. It's just Joe and John and I today. Ryan's out, but he is accounted for, and we'll show you pictures. He's here in spirit.
It's good.
Joe, give him a little bit of what you got there.
Oh.
That's the.
Cut it off, Kommodi.
Kommodi.
Oh boy, Ryan hit the Taco Bell today, didn't he?
I did. Dude, Ryan and Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Short story here of Ryan. When I first kind of like got introduced to Baker and met him, I think I was jamming with you or so. And
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Ryan and I were starting Isolation Theory, and you were almost our drummer.
Almost.
Like, we were going to do that, and then, because you and I had talked about it, and then that's right when you moved to Columbus.
Yep.
So we lost touch for a little
Yep.
bit.
But,
and we got Damien. And then when you came back, we started the Cookies.
Cookie
which,
stuff.
So that same band would have been maybe 2 years before as ISO.
But any rehearsal that he would show up to, or practice, whatever you want to call it, he would show up with like a 2 12 packs of. Remember this? He would show up with like an absurd amount of tacos, or
Oh, I do remember
Or
that.
if there was like rodeo cheeseburgers,
Yeah,
he would
99-cent sandwiches from Wendy's, and he'd bring 7
bring
of
like
them.
20 of them or some shit. Yeah, all the time. And he'd be like, "There's some tacos for you," and I'm like, and I'd have like one or so, and I'm like, "Man, there's a lot." He's like, "Oh, I already ate some," and I'm like,
Dude.
"Man, there's still like 20 here." Like, holy crap!
For a very short amount of time, I worked at Camp Music Center behind the sales desk or whatever. He showed up the one night. He had a bag, like a sack of 99-cent Wendy's cheeseburgers. He's like, "Hey, man, are you hungry?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could eat." And he like set out a whole line
like,
of. He's like, they were chicken sandwiches. He's like, "Have as many as you want." I'm like, "Why didn't you just buy one real sandwich? Like, you've got so many.
Got these cheeseburgers,
You got so many little sandwiches."
So funny.
Yeah. We love you, Ryan.
I love Ryan.
We're going to have Ryan call in. Maybe not this episode. We're going to do 2 back-to-back, so depends on when you're listening. Maybe not this one. Maybe the next one.
Colin Kommodi.
Yeah.
Kommodi call.
A Kommodi call? Is it like a booty call, but it's Ryan?
But it's that.
But it's still the booty?
But it's that phone. It's the phone. It's the phone that's by the toilet. So when you fall off of it, you can.
I want
call
to
for
change.
help.
I want to change Ryan's ringtone on my phone to.
Like, oh, Kommodi's calling.
Oh, it's Ryan. I got to take this.
Oh, it's General Kommodi. Hello there.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
I love it. What's new with you guys? Anything fun?
Not much, man.
Yeah, same old.
Same old.
Well, that's good. We were still talking off air. We were talking about, again, our Foo Fighter predictions, who might get the drum throne for the
Yep.
Foo Fighters. John still thinks Matt Cameron's a strong lead.
I don't know. That's just what I saw. I don't know if I think he would be a good fit, but
He would be a good fit. He's a great drummer.
I'm rooting for Rufus Taylor though.
Rufus Taylor would be great.
Yeah.
Joe,
I think
what's
that's
your
my vote.
what's your drum opinion? Who would be
Freeze is good too, but
Freeze is still my
I think they're gonna end up going with Taylor or
Rufus Taylor. Yeah, he looks the part too.
And his
If-
last name's Taylor. I
telling
mean, it's
ya.
so weird.
So if anybody is a Foo Fighter fan and has interest in the subject, Rufus Taylor currently plays for The Darkness. If you remember, I believe in a thing called love.
Loving
just
you.
the love of my heart. Yeah, right. So he's the drummer, and his dad is Roger Taylor from Queen. So not only does the dude have chops, but he's got rock royalty
Yeah.
dad. So
I never knew that was.
I didn't until the tribute show.
It's his
Because
father.
Roger Taylor and Brian May were there
Yeah.
to
Now,
play.
was he the original drummer for The Darkness this whole time?
This whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, him and Justin Hawkins, the singer,
Mm-hmm.
they're best friends. They have a similar brotherhood like Dave and Taylor did in the Foo Fighters. I mean, they're almost inseparable.
Right.
So if he joins the Foo Fighters,
See, that's-
it is going to cripple the Darkness.
That's the other element that we got to put in there about
Yeah.
drummers and the Foo Fighters. Is
Right.
the reason why Taylor worked out so well is because him and Dave had this
Synergy, like they locked in.
super man,
Well, because Dave is still a drummer at heart, so he.
and he's not going to have someone that you have to play as good and better
Than him.
than Dave. But
You have to impress him.
Right, but also be able to be his you know what I mean? Be his buddy and shit.
Yeah.
So maybe man.
Well, yeah, because they spend a lot of time on the road, and
So the thing with those studio guys, with Freeze and stuff, I'm not saying Freeze himself, but I'm just saying studio guys and stuff, they're
they're not of the same mindset.
they're not as personable, kind of in a sense. It's
I 100% can understand what you're saying.
yeah. If I'm making sense in that,
Yeah, no, I was just telling somebody yesterday. So yesterday I got to do a show.
to them it's oh hey, how's it going? All right, what do you want me to go? Okay, this is what I'm. Okay, all right, here we go, and I'll play it. So
they do it like a job.
Yeah.
What's your order? And then I'll do your
Yep.
order like I'm working at a restaurant.
Thomas Lang is a you guys probably don't know him, but he's one of these studio drummer stuff in the drumming world. He's known very well.
Right.
But yeah, watching some of his stuff, he's amazing drummer. But watch him go into places and these clinics, or even into hey, I'm going to be recording with these guys today, and blah blah. It's very
Strict.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
And-
get that. Well, yeah, so yesterday I did a gig with,
We all feel like we're in the band, but if we had a dude like that,
right.
it wouldn't quite.
It would feel more like work.
Yeah, well, we'll all go hang out, but this guy's not gonna hang out. I don't know. He wouldn't feel
Yeah.
he wouldn't quite feel like he's I don't know, a brother or
No,
whatever. sense.
I get that totally. Well, that's so we play in a band and we're all buddies, and we could just hang out and have a beer or do this podcast. We haven't played with instruments other than that one jam in a while.
Wow.
But we can still just hang out and it doesn't even have to be about rocking out. We're just hanging out. But I know plenty of guys, and John, I know you do too. I guess you could call them session guys, a guy that you'd grab to do a gig. And we've had even some of the same guys in our past where you're like, oh, I bet you that guy could do the gig, and I know he's good. We can grab a Jason, we can grab a Matt, we can grab a whoever, and they would show up and they would do it fine. But would they hang out with us after? No.
No, they go to Steak and Shake.
They would go to Steak and Shake.
All right, guys.
But it's the same thing.
I like stage.
Well, no, that's
That's a whole different story.
there's nothing against Steak and Shake.
is there a Steak and Shake around here?
Is it cold or is it just me? I'm always cold. No, but there's plenty of guys.
Is
where
that
it's
Feathers?
yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna say that, but now that we've said it,
I thought you said it.
I did. Well, I didn't say his last name.
Oh, wow! I can't believe I had a great guess like
No,
that.
well, we must have nailed it.
yeah.
So
It wasn't the reference to Steak and Shake though. I don't.
It was being cold?
It was being cold for some reason.
well, he's a good dude and an amazing player. Mm-hmm. But on a personal level, and this isn't a slight at all, we just didn't have as much in common.
Yeah.
And we're about the same age. We just don't have that buddy factor. And you know what I mean? It's like he's the guy that I'd call him up and say, hey, I got a gig if you want it. It pays X amount, and I need you to learn X number of songs. And he would show up. He would drive long distances. He would do the gig. He would do it well.
Yeah.
He would yell at Baker when Baker was in the wrong key.
Yeah. Well,
it's in G.
Tune your bass.
Give me the bass. I'll play it for you.
Watch this, guys. Check it out.
I rehearsed with him once.
I don't think that guy likes me.
I rehearsed with him once, and he played the organ. He had a Hammond B3 with a Leslie cabinet, like a proper. He had really good pro gear.
Lovely toys.
It's so good. And well, he's on Functional, and he's on some of my records, and he did fantastic performances. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. I can't say enough good things about. He did what I needed him to do.
Yeah.
Flying colors. But we rehearsed once, and he was playing the Hammond, and he goes, Scott, is when you go to that one chord, is that an F diminished minor with a third over fifth major? And he's saying all these things. I don't know what he's saying because I'm an idiot, and I don't.
Yeah.
I just put my hands on a guitar, and when it starts to sound cool, I run with it. And
You
really couldn't
You never
tell
learned
you.
your circles, did you?
I didn't learn nothing. I'm an idiot. All my songs are by accident.
Like circles of
it's all
fifths
by
and
ear,
ninths
and it's
and-
all by.
No?
I don't know keys and modes. I can't read music. Wow. 300 published songs. I can't tell you what they are. Like
Apparently you never needed it, I guess.
there's
Would it-
pluses and minuses. Would it have benefited me? I don't know. Would I have gotten a record deal if I knew that stuff? I don't think so.
Yeah.
If the song's catchy, it's catchy. Look
Yeah.
at the Ramones. 3 chords and the truth, dude.
You know
Like,
how many bands that are
ACG
famous
and
that
you do power chords. Look at
don't know
Nirvana.
how to read music?
Yeah.
Like there's so many bands out there that don't know how to read music.
Yeah. That wasn't the part that excited me about the craft. You know, once I got enough knowledge of how to play the guitar, it's like, okay, I'm ready. I want to rock. Probably not the best way to do that, but it's how I did it. When I took lessons at 10 years old, the guy was like, do you want to take the time and learn sheet music and start with Mary Had a Little Lamb? Or do you want me to teach you tab and Nirvana songs? And I was like, Nirvana songs, please. I just want to play tomorrow. I don't have patience.
I'm gonna stop right now and just put out a public services announcement here.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to like play an instrument, any instrument,
Okay.
and you feel that lessons aren't for you, quit fooling yourself. Take the lessons.
Oh, absolutely. I took lessons.
The people that want to like try to like make it in the world being self-taught, just
See, but
take the experience from guys that are older than
Oh,
you
yeah.
right now and take the lessons. Take the lessons.
but wouldn't you also
Doesn't mean you have to take them for life,
no?
but take the lessons.
But wouldn't you agree that
It's good to have a good foundation.
yeah,
For sure.
Well, but it depends on what kind of music you want to make.
Yeah.
You know
Any
what I mean?
music, really.
Well,
Like, I
Les
mean-
Claypool was self-taught. No one could have taught him to play like that. He did it with trial
Yeah.
and error and fiddling around until something
Right.
sounded cool. And I don't know if he could tell you what key half the songs are in. He just goes boing to boing to boing to, and it sounds great.
It's just artistic freedom.
You know what I mean?
But
like you can't
but-
teach that to a kid.
Yeah.
He,
No,
he fiddled around and he found out.
Fafo.
slapped around and found out.
Boots
he
with the
fiddled
squirrels,
around
dude.
and found out.
But no,
That's the name of this episode.
I fiddled around and found out.
but
I
but
like
that's
that. We'll keep
okay.
that.
But that's one
One instance, I
one
agree with you,
instance out of
and
a
that's not the norm.
zillion,
And
yeah,
I
that's
agree
not the
with you.
norm.
And I'm not saying I benefited from not. I had some lessons, I did, and then some stuff.
I mean, look at kids. Okay, so
but
your
I've
kid,
known-
your kid's good at soccer, right? So then behold, there's like the soccer camp. So you send them to soccer camp, and then like lo and behold, they come back from soccer camp, and they're like, whoa, they're way better. Like,
okay, but I've known kids that went to Berkeley that can run scales like nobody's business. They can't write a catchy song.
Right, yeah.
They don't have it in them. They can't. They'll tell you why a song is good. They'll diagram the parts of it, but they can't come up with something.
can't
I had the
begin-
raw
I'll agree.
idea. I just can't tell you how I did it.
because okay,
I can't give you the recipe, but I can do it.
so being in marching band and then doing the Drum Corps International, the Blue Coats Drum and Bugle Corps stuff.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of tons of horn players,
Yeah.
and within these last couple of years, they opened up an alumni group, and so like people from all
You got to
walks
go
over-
back and play with them as an adult.
got to play
Yeah.
with them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And still, even then, I'm so surprised when I come across. To me, I can read music or I can play by ear. I usually
Sure.
kind of play by ear, but if there's music there, I can read it or so. But I have no problem if like someone's playing guitar or whatever, finding, you know, the
And that's your artistic instinct kicking in.
just
Because you have it. You have that. Yeah.
Right. So to me, I feel like I don't ever look at that as a gift as much as I look at it as like this is just something that
Raw
comes
talent
along. It just
that needs-
I feel like it's a thing that comes along. Like everyone that knows karate knows how to throw a punch.
Sure.
Right? Or should.
Okay.
Okay. So I look at it as kind of in the sense like everyone that plays music
Can do the basics.
should be able to like, you know your way around your instrument. So like you're in this setting with these other people, you should be able to, you know, slide on in and jam on in, right?
Sure.
But horn players I've come across so like more 9 out of 10 times they can't
They can't improv.
They
Like,
have to
okay,
have
so that's
the
like
mu-
symphonic members can't improv.
They have to have the music there, otherwise they are just worthless.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's because they play mostly in an ensemble and they have to be pocket with 5 other people
Right.
that
That's-
also play?
These questions you're asking are questions I've had in my head for years because
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you know where C is, you know your scales.
Yeah, just come up with something.
You can-
And they
like-
look at you like a deer in headlights.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now I can agree with that because the very first couple times I wanted to add a cello to a song or a horn section, I went out and found people that knew how to play and well. And I said, okay, here's the track. I've already recorded it. At 2.5 minutes, you're going to hear a little riff, and that's the section I need you to play something. And I don't have a melody in mind. I want you to just go for it. And they look at you like, well, what do you mean go for it? Where's the chart? I need you to tell me what to do. And I'm going, well, here's your chance. I'm giving you a platform. Be yourself.
Here's a
Do whatever you
canvas.
want. And
Paint it.
it's digital recording. I can do 5 versions of your thing and piece the coolest bits together. And they look at you like, I don't know what you're saying. And I go, oh, you're a different kind of musician than I am. And I go off of an idea, a spark, and an improv, and it turns into a song. Kind of
Right,
like when we
right.
jam.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
just jam today, we come up with a song.
Yep.
And we didn't sit here with a pen and pad and orchestrate how it's going to go. We just fiddled around and we found out. You know?
Yeah.
The other weird thing.
But you're right. Horn players,
horn players.
string players, anybody symphonic, they really need the direction. And I think it's just beat into them.
The other thing
in
I've
their
been
schools or
running into
something.
recently since I've been going to like this camping thing for like 2 weeks out in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of during that time there's a lot of like hand drumming type hand drummings going on,
Like
And-
drum circle?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like just to have fun?
like
Find backbeats and find...
yeah, you know, like whatever. And I run into these other drummers that are, you know, more traditionally like drum set players.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey man, why don't you throw them down? They're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like,
Right,
what?
why?
What? Like,
Yeah.
like left hand, right hand is like the very like basics of
Yeah, it's a rudiment.
of drumming. Like,
Yeah.
so like now, do I prefer playing a drum kit over, you know, one singular thing? Totally. Like, yeah. Like, because to me, it gets boring and stuff. But
Well, and that brings up a good point because you specifically are not necessarily a fan, correct me if I'm wrong, of like cajones and hand drums and stuff.
no, I mean, I
Because home for you is a full kit with 2 sticks.
that's where I like to be and stuff.
And my
but,
friend
like,
Kevin, who plays with me sometimes, is the same. I don't think I could convince him to sit on a cajon and play like a Charlie would, or you know, and it's just 2 different. And there's no wrong answer, but there's 2 different mentalities to it. Somebody goes, well, this is my principal instrument, and they're pointing to a drum set. This is what I know. My creative juices are here, and a cajon is not the same because I'm limited to 2 hands with a kick and a snare sound.
A
Kind of.
cajon is something that I don't own. Is something that
I know you're not a fan.
I would like to own. I would like to own it and stuff. I'm not saying I'm not like
It's not your favorite.
not my fave. No, but I haven't come across one that like.
Like if I said, hey, I got us a show next week and it pays a lot of money, but I cannot bring a drum set. You'd have to slap a box.
Yeah, Then
Okay.
I'd slap a box.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like,
Okay.
No. I'm not prejudiced against, like, extreme prejudice against anything like that.
That's
I don't like boxes. I'm so prejudiced.
I'm
against
against
it.
them.
Yeah.
Let's
No.
kick them out of the country.
How do you feel about boxes? I'm against
I'm
them.
against them.
Yeah.
I'm not in the club
Yeah.
sandwich.
No. But
How do you feel about turkey and bacon? I'm
Don't
for
put me
it.
in a box.
But even now, even
Forget
like,
a box.
When Cajones first came out, they were like, "Here's this box. You slap of the box." You're like, "All right." And now there's so many things out there for the cajon. It's almost like,
You're building a little drum kit.
yeah, it's and the same with like, it's weird with like electronic kit. Like when Roland came out, it was like this small. Yeah, did it look like
It was
a
a practice pad.
almost?
It was a
yeah.
practice kit.
and it was like
It wasn't meant for touring back then, and now it
No,
kinda-
not until like the V drums came out was when
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, this is something you could actually take on stage and like
Oh, yeah.
play out with." Where
Well, I
but
saw
even-
the Gorillas a couple months ago. They had a real drummer or a traditional acoustic drummer, and they had a Roland player, and he was doing the sound samples you hear in the hip hop part of the song.
Yep.
So rather than use a bunch of backtracks, if you heard boom, da, 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 he was playing that
That's
on
awesome.
your kind of Roland kit, and I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
what a great integration of all that
That
different
is really
stuff.
cool.
And that's two different guys mashing the beat
What I liked
together.
about like, especially when I was living on my own a lot in different apartments, different weird houses, settings and stuff, I really liked my electronic kit because it didn't have the full sizes of a normal drum kit, so I
Right.
could put it in places and play it where I normally wouldn't have been able to do that with a normal drum kit.
Sure.
Well,
Takes
like,
up a lot less real estate in your house
well, like
or
now,
apartment.
almost every Yamaha, Roland, Pearl,
Alesis.
yeah, thank you. They're all putting out these top end like electronic drum kits that
Yeah.
look exactly like full size drum
Right.
kits now, and I'm like,
And you're like, man, you're going the long way around.
Yeah, I
just
was
to
like,
get that
wait,
sound.
why are we-
But
like,
you don't
why
have
are
to mic it, and you get a perfect sample.
no, but you could always like it's just a
That's
weird
true.
like why have it, why the spacing and a look like you don't need all that like. Especially if like those guys, once you start like playing on the kit's one thing, but like taking that kit apart and actually starting to figure out like what makes this make it do its thing. It's these I hate this thing, but it's just these little tiny sensors, and you can put those sensors on anything.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like
Oh yeah, you could trigger all kinds of stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
could have like cardboard boxes or paint buckets and yeah.
anything, pigs.
Yeah, you could.
Like-
Boom, da,
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
but yeah, I don't understand.
Do
why-
you
it's like-
remember? Speaking of your electronic kit, do you remember Cookie's early days? You were in an apartment. I think all three of us were in apartments, and we used to jam. I think it was in your place, and all of us plugged into a mixing board and
Yep.
ran headphones, kind of like we're doing now with the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And we played quiet, and that's how we rehearsed because none of us could turn up. We
Yep.
just didn't have the living space.
That's how we
to where
would-
we wouldn't get like call the cops on
So
us.
so
And it was great for that. I love that.
So
we could have actually probably
here-
recorded those practices.
here in Northeast Ohio, we're really fortunate about like the houses our parents had when we grew up and stuff, and like the basements and spots
Yeah.
that we had because man, when I moved
All
down
those
to
metal bands in those basements.
when I moved
rocking
down to
the rafters.
Columbus,
Yeah.
it was a thing to like have a spot or a place to practice, and
Like that wasn't your house?
that wasn't our house or
So like up here when they used to rent out the schoolhouse.
Yeah, no, okay, so
Like that? Like
so-
Donnelly actually had an industrial room in
so-
Cleveland.
so they had
it was
a-
all bands.
So yeah, so
Sindust had a room with a key in a warehouse or an industrial.
somewhere down in Columbus, there was a like storage unit type of place that just rented mostly would rent storage units to people stuff, but mostly would like if you had a band, like they would rent like.
It's this much a month.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Don't be late.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't trash
And
the
so
place.
I-
Pissers down the hall.
So
and
I
there's
saw
a
there
Coke
was
machine.
like hey, these guys looking for a drummer or whatever. I'm like sure, called them up, like yeah, come
Oh,
on,
they'd put the one ads on the bulletin board.
whatever. And so like I showed up to like meet with these guys, jam with them, see how how you do when you like try to join a
Oh,
band
yeah.
and all that crap. And
Audition.
it was at this storage unit, and it was around like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and there had to have been at least 120 other bands there practicing
No
all at the same time. And by no means was it like
Nothing was soundproofed.
no, it was like and these like all different types of music. Just imagine grabbing like I don't know playing every CD at the exchange at once
At the same time.
Yeah, like whoa, like this is way too hard to even try to like. How do these people write songs? Like I can't even concentrate.
I think they still have those rehearsal spots in like big cities like LA and shit. Because when the Jonas Brothers were getting back together, wasn't it one of those guys who like ruined the whole surprise about My Chemical Romance coming back?
Something like that.
Did you guys hear about that? One of the Jonas Brothers said in an interview that they were at their rehearsal space and they were practicing for their new album or their new tour, and they'd just gotten back together from their solo stuff. And he was like, yeah, we were trying to rehearse, but My Chemical Romance was next door rehearsing. And these guys had been long broke up. And that came out on Rolling Stone and ruined the whole surprise that band was getting back together, because no one knew they were secretly rehearsing for a comeback tour. And the band had to like address it and go, oh, that guy's full of shit. No, we never talk. And then they did. It was all true. It's just they got their surprise ruined. But imagine a rehearsal space where...
I got Joe Jonas.
But imagine a rehearsal building
he
where...
still gets jealous.
Nice. Nice.
But wouldn't that
Yeah.
be cool to have a key to that place and go, oh, well, room 102 is Jonas Brothers, room 103 is My Chemical Romance, room 104 is Napalm Death.
That was
You're like-
another thing. I like playing in these different bands down there. A lot of times we were at different weird studios and just
jamming in a studio.
yeah, and that was odd. But then once
That actually used to be kind of normal.
once I got we got with the group I was with, and we all got settled in the same house and stuff. I was like, hey, I have this electronic kit. We plug it into same thing. We plug this into a mixer. We can all play, and boom, that's how we did practice for a long, long time.
I used to have back in the home video days when you could get like the VHS from the you go to the record store and they'd have all the VHS band home videos and shit. I had a Megadeth making of Euthanasia. Ooh. It was really good. It's probably on YouTube now. But it showed them in a studio. It showed them in a studio
I'm taking
rehearsing and writing the album and making demos to then go to a better studio with a producer. So they were doing pre-production and jamming in a recording studio and just recording the sessions and the ideas. And then they would take all that to the real studio.
That
And
used to be a
kinda-
thing too, and
yeah.
that always, I was like, how do you even like
The buddy that
coming
it
up
would
in
take,
music
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff and everything. I'm like, how man, we spent like, you know what I mean?
We
Like
should have
the
recorded this jam because we threw away $5,000
$5,000 song that we're scrapping. You know,
we got too drunk and we forgot how it goes.
but like, yeah, but they're like,
You used to have to put a little cassette recorder down. And those were before your phone could just do it.
Yeah.
But-
My phone is full of 100 song ideas.
but you
Because
know,
I was
like,
playing around the house and I went, ooh, that's pretty good. And I'd record a few. And then when I want to make a real song, I go listen to those recordings and go, oh, this one's pretty good. And I relearn it and write down what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of becomes the pre-production for a song, you know. Because otherwise, all those ideas would have just been gone.
So I have
forever.
a little
Then you get
app.
in the studio and you're like, I actually don't have any good ideas today, guys.
I have a,
but that phone saves me.
I have, yeah,
every
I
time.
have an app on my phone here, and it's all my mouth noises.
Would you play us one?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can do this. Hold on here. Let's see if I can. Where's a good one?
My kind of lover. Oh God.
Okay, so
Is that a good one?
it might be.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And this is me just driving in the car.
But that's when you had the idea. You grabbed the phone.
Is that 311?
Could be. No, it's not.
But that's great because that's the same kind of stuff I get.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Is
so
it
for me,
so-
I'll have a guitar and I'll kind of be like, I guess scatting for lack of a better word, but you're kind of going, in about a sound, you know, it's like it's nonsense, but you're just trying to find those melodies and like what the phrasing might be when you write the real words.
So I have all those. Mouth
If you're listening, what
noises.
you just heard was a vocal recording Joe made on his
Yeah,
phone
that's
of an
all.
idea for a song.
Yeah, it's just all my mouth. That's not even. Yeah.
Yeah. But you just grab the phone when you have that spark of inspiration.
But so I would have all the. I've been doing this for years, for like as long as you've known me, and even plus then I've been doing like these mouth noise ideas. Like, I got this idea for a song.
Remember
well,
the
then,
old dictaphone cassette? Like
Right.
I used to have cassettes.
So then it
full
would
of
come
these
time to
ideas.
practice. I would like, hey, I got these. I would show these these things to people, and they're like, huh, yeah, because it wasn't transcribing.
They
like-
couldn't hear the idea.
Right.
Oh, I'm glad we're bringing this up.
So Dickerson.
I was just going to say. Okay, go ahead. That's exactly where I was going with
So
this.
Dickerson showed me this cool trick that he does the same thing with mouth noises because him and I are soloed instrument. Like he's a vocalist. He doesn't
Right.
play piano or any of that.
He needs the music under to do the thing that he does.
And I do drums, and I could probably fiddle my way through bass, but no way would I ever be like, I'm a bass player or anything
Sure,
like that. Right.
sure.
But however, I do like have my keyboard and stuff, piano at home here, labeled
You
with
can find
stickers
some
on it
notes,
with all
yeah.
the notes and stuff. So and he does the same thing. So like I'll sit there and be like, like what is So like boom, 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 boom.
And you find the note.
It's a B. Okay. All right. And no. Where's this going to? Oh, it's C to F. Oh.
And now you have a riff.
So then I have this idea that I can take to practice and go, hey guys, check this out.
It starts in C, then it goes to an F.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it becomes a song. And shit.
Exactly.
And man,
Now-
that's been a huge help.
So you kind of, that's referencing, that's how I write songs too, because I don't know the names of all the fancy chords and stuff.
It takes a longer practice, but it works out.
Right. Do you think you would get farther if you knew all the scales and modes and you could just write down your idea?
Now, here's what's funny.
Because you're kind of talking about how I write a song, and we were talking about the different ways. Like, well, if I knew that Berkeley education, I could just tell you, oh, I'm thinking of an F sharp major with a 3/5 and all these words that I don't know. You know,
Diminished
because
seventh.
I sit there and play on a guitar until I hear something cool.
Well, I will say having a degree in music theory gets you nowhere.
Right. It's cool.
It helps me understand some of.
Doesn't guarantee a record deal.
No. What it has helped me is been able to like.
To help you describe your idea to the other musicians better.
No, it helps me help them write or like produce the song better.
Sure.
Or
like arrangement?
Yeah.
An arrangement.
It's
yeah.
helped me like arrange, especially like writing songs. Like, hey, why don't we put instead of that? Why don't we put this here or do this here? That's helped me out a lot. And like Seafoam Tsunami, even with the band of vehicles too. Jeff has talked to me. Like they had a drummer before me, and so when I came in, I didn't hear any of their stuff. So I like was learning it from scratch. Like
No tapes or nothing.
nothing.
They were just
So
trying
as
to go.
as they played, I would just go along with it.
Yeah.
And they liked how I was doing it better than kind of like the guy before. That they actually changed to match.
They changed what they were
the
doing.
Song stuff to match me
Because you were
Yeah.
bringing a fresh perspective. Well, what do you say we give Mr.
Yeah.
Jeff a call? Because I
Sure.
like where this is going. All right, we're going to call Mr. Jeff Dickerson. You would know him from Dysfunctional Ray, Abandoned Vehicles, Phase. The list goes on and on.
Last Catastrophe.
My Sweet Fiction. Okay.
Yeah, that guy at the bar that everyone loves.
Everyone loves the Jeffrey. So
Hey, Frey.
let's see if he picks up. He should, because he knows I'm calling.
I had just about given up.
Oh,
Hey, Frey.
how are you, buddy?
Hey, Frey. What's happening, gentlemen?
How are you? Can you hear us pretty well, Jeff?
Hello.
Hello. I can hear you all. It's lovely.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, yes.
So John, Richard, Joseph Middleton, and myself are here on the.
I wish I could. I suppose. I don't know. I don't know if this is live, pre-recorded, or what. But
We're live in a sense that I'm recording it and I won't edit it. So watch what you say if it's not something you want to say. But no one can hear us in the world yet until I publish this.
Yeah.
because I was thinking to myself, well, shoot, I should have been listening to the show to find out what the hell they're talking about.
Oh, no. Donnelly said the same thing. Is this live right now? Well, yes and no.
Gotcha.
We started the show today, and we were talking about...
It's recorded live.
Yeah, recorded live in front of an audience.
Yeah.
The demos that we all keep on our phone that eventually turn into songs.
Like the mouth noises that you and I do.
The scatting ideas and just melodic mumblings, and Joe makes beats with his mouth, but to his phone for a future idea. And we already knew we were going to call you today, but instantly we were all like, that's how Phase was born.
Absolutely.
So I guess the first thing I want to ask is maybe you could tell us, because you can play a keyboard, but nobody really knows you to be like a piano player, a guitarist, etc. But you are a songwriter. What's your process? Like, tell us a little bit about like Phase in particular, because we were there, parts of it, and really any time that you get this spark of an idea.
Well, thank you. First of all, I appreciate you pointing out to the world that I don't play an instrument, so that's great.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
Your voice is your instrument, buddy.
You are an instrument.
I am the laziest, lamest musician ever.
No,
He is the diamond of the rough in the Canton fucking
you
music
are
scene
welcome.
is what he is.
You are welcome. No, honestly, that's a good question. Obviously, in the olden times before the technology, you would have to remember things. You would just have to remember little ditties, write them down. You would hear some notes in your head, and you would go to the piano and you would figure out the notes, and then you would write those down.
Yep.
And then you would hum them to gentlemen such as yourselves, the excellent musicians. You would be like, "Hey, this is the way I'm hearing the bass line. This is the way I'm hearing the guitar."
Right.
So yeah, after once the voice memo came on with the phone, I was ecstatic because I probably have I delete them every several months. I go in, and because I have so many,
Sure.
and they'll just, at any time of day, if something pops into your head, it's so nice just to be able to hit record, and so you remember it. But then I do have to go back and edit every few months, because it gets I have so much in there. And then I can go back and listen to it later and be like, "Oh, that sucked. I don't want to save that."
Sure.
Delete that.
Yeah, like pre-production. You start to vet, like, is this an idea I want to show to my friends, or
Sure.
this was
Absolutely.
like, it was good at the time and now I'm not feeling it anymore. It's been a couple weeks, and what was I thinking?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly it. But but you're right though, because that was around the time, and we started when we were producing the Phase record. To the world, by the way, Scott mentioned last night on his live. Scott Paris mentioned on his live stream last night that Phase was my brainchild, but
Yeah.
just to correct, just so everyone knows, the record never ever would have happened without the talents, the extreme, severe talent
Stop it.
of Scott Paris, because he was actually able to get inside my brain and make these sounds I was hearing come to life, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
But back to but to your point though, with the audio, with the voice memoing, I know Joe utilizes it a lot. For drum beats and for little bass lines he hears and vocal melodies, and we should. I think most musicians I know now, which I'm an old guy, so I don't know too many anymore. Most of them are dead. No, that's not true. They're still alive. They're dead to me. I don't talk to them anymore.
Wow.
But no, that's a complete joke. I love all of my dear friends in the music world. Honestly, local musicians, you guys, everybody, this is the only music I listen to. Like, any of the new stuff that really comes out in the world, I don't really care too much about, because I'm more concerned about what my friends are doing and what's going on in the local music scene, because I just appreciate our town. I appreciate where we're from and our history. And but real quick, back to the voice memo. Scott had the brilliant idea, because it was one of the first voice memos I had for the idea for a song for the Phase record, and Scott actually recorded that and put it in the song as the intro to the song.
That's right. Just a little spark from
Sneaky
you.
fucker.
Yeah, that's Jeff's real demo recording off of his phone, and I thought it was so neat, and it was such in the moment. I was like, well, that's got to be part of the real song. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the song kicks into the studio version, but it does. You're right. It did. I forgot that we did it that way. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was all your idea. So
I'm a goofy guy.
And you hadn't been too far removed from you had so many. What was your big Inti Matter was very experimental.
Oh
that
yeah,
record.
no, it was, and it was done in a bedroom with just whatever was lying around. Anything that sounded cool. I was bowing a fretless bass to get a
Yeah.
cello sound and all that weird
You
stuff.
you were fresh off of that record, which bode well for me at the time because
Yeah. Well, that's how we started working together. Was I had that song "Skeleton Key to a Wormhole," and I could not come up with a good vocal melody, like to save my life. I love the music, but I couldn't write a vocal top line to it. And you were the guy. I mean, that song wouldn't have been cool. It would have probably never come out because I couldn't finish it until you stepped in. But I have to back up what you said. You're one of the guys that we all know listens to local stuff because you know more of my lyrics some night than I do. And it just shows like, wow, he listened to my record like a lot. Like you know it really, really well. The night that I released Pirate Signals and then we did the album start to finish at Upper Deck, you and my friend John Fox, who isn't with us anymore, were the two guys that had an early copy of it, and both of you were singing every friggin' word from the back of the room, and I had the vantage point of watching you guys sing with me, just under your breath, like I just saw the words formed, and man, that feels good. That just,
Well,
or any Beautiful Losers show, Jeff knew as many, if not sometimes more words than Chris would. I mean, yeah, you really rock those records out. You are a local supporter, always have been.
I guess I don't know if people can claim that they've made Chris Bentley cry.
Ooh, you have?
But well, you were on stage too, buddy. When Phase opened for the Losers, supporting
Midnight Piranha Brothers.
And Piranha Brothers.
Yep.
And we played the Loser song, that song I wrote. Chris and Sammy Huff were standing next to each other in tears. They were so taken back and honored. And
well, yeah, because
but this is that. See, to me, this is the world. Like I was very fortunate with Dysfunctional Ray and to go out on the Vans Warped Tour and meet some of my people I grew up idolizing, and it's a horrible word to say because they're just people. Once you get to meet them, you just realize they're just people, and you just appreciate what they do, and they become big influences on what you do.
Yeah.
That being said, after being out there on, and seeing different places and experiencing different things and touring the world, I've always just felt like, I wish the Canton scene would just be bigger,
Right. Another Seattle.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
I just don't know why Canton, I just wish Canton could have a time. We need a time. And people say, oh, that time has passed. No, I think we're still in the heart of it here. There's just so much undiscovered talent in this town, and not that we all like you just said Seattle, but that certainly had a sound. There was definitely the grunge
an era.
thing.
Yeah.
Where we're very eclectic here. There's a lot of different stuff going on. So, but anyway.
So I also hear like where people talk about the scene and like how they talk about like, oh, it's had its time or whatever, right? But like, what's funny is it still keeps going here because and the proof is right in front of our eyes here. So think about like some of the think about like let's see here. I can't think of his name, but he was the bass player in like Pipeline, right? Okay. I think his name was Ricky or so. He was phenomenally great and everything. But Rick, yeah.
Ricky Mendel.
No, not Ricky Mendel. And
he was
then
a singer, right?
And then there was Dog who played in Jay Muir but now plays in the Buck Naked Boys. And stuff, right?
I knew Dog.
And, yeah. So there's
Ryan Jennings.
Right, Ryan Jennings. So there was these phenomenal great bass players in this scene and stuff that have kind of like moved along and are no longer around very much anymore.
Right.
But now we have our Ryan Bakers, we have our Blake Oaks. We have there are some really young cats out there that are great players that are just where are falling off, well, not falling off, but
I got you. You don't see us every night out like you see them.
As
we had our time doing that.
Yeah. But those guys are all picking up the the torch right where we left off with and everything. And like if it's not for us because we're older, it's just for the scene itself because it'll always live on. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Good. Well said, Joe. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these guys that are still playing. They're legends in this town, and I feel like in a way we're legends in this town too. We've been carrying this torch for a long time, and I love these I love the new up and comers, and I really appreciate it, and I'm glad they appreciate us too. I think there is that's one thing is the complimentary when you get gratitude from the next generation, when they appreciate
like if
what came from them. Because obviously, sometimes it can, when you're a snot-nosed punk, you misconstrued that you don't really care about anything. But yeah, and I'm sorry, it was Rick. You're driving me nuts, Joe. I said Rick Mendel. I know it's not Ricky Mendel, but oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can't. It's his last name's escaping me. Oh
Jeff, you were saying when you were doing Warped Tour, and you'd meet some of these guys that you had listened to and they had an impact on your musical taste and then your creative taste and input. We were just talking about how cool would it be to be like a Dave Grohl? Like, you yourself are fantastic, but he can just pick up the phone and call Stevie Nicks or Paul McCartney and have a chit chat. Or he could just say, hey, ZZ Top, do you want to come over for a barbecue next Saturday? And they'd be like, hell yeah, dude, I'll be there. And it's like, at what point do you go, oh my God, Paul McCartney is in my living room playing my piano and showing my daughter how to play Let It Be, and he's just sitting here having dinner with me? Like, how weird.
When you see interviews with Dave, he obviously still geeks out about it. Like, deep down, he still geeks out about it. But
that's the part I love.
I feel that way with the local music scene around here.
Sure.
Like when we're at events all together, I'm like, hey man, this is I'm with the cool kids. I feel like I'm at the cool kids table.
I love those nights. Those nights where like a couple of bands that have been around for a while or have members that have been around for a while, and it feels like rock and roll summer camp. And you're like, dude, what have you been up to? And you're spending the whole time backstage just catching up. I love those nights.
That's when all the
those
best
big festivals and shit
start happening.
Oh my God. Like, we used to, I haven't done one for a couple of years, but we were doing like the 330 day for Summit FM. And there'd be 30 bands on the bill, and we'd be behind the backstage at Kent Stage or Umstadt Hall or something. And we all had our own dressing room, and nobody was in their dressing room. We were all in the hallways, like just swapping stories. And, dude, your new record's so good. What was it like working with that guy? And like, I heard you went out to Nashville for this one. Well, how cool was that? Or like, when the Monets had their moment where they were on that label, and they worked with that one producer in Nashville, and it was like, or Tennessee. They were in Tennessee. But it was like, dude, that guy produced Ben Folds, and he produced Modest Mouse. And what was that like? And just getting those stories and hearing that shit that nobody gets to hear,
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Hey. Absolutely. Just glad we're, but I'm glad we're just staying true to ourselves as well, too. I mean, everybody jokes about people's egos and things like that, and that can get in the way, and the holier than thou attitude and whatnot. But honestly, I mean, it's really, I think we've been around so long and we know each other so well. It's like family. That I think it's just playful banter when we dog each other. I love that.
I don't really feel like there is any overly inflated egos around. I can't think of anybody. I wouldn't say their name on the podcast if I thought somebody was like that. But I truly can't think of anybody who, at their core, doesn't see someone else like the way we see and go, and just what's the expression? Real recognize real. Like
Sure.
You know,
there's some
even if it's not-
douchebaggery up there in Cleveland, in the Cleveland metal scene for sure.
Oh, well, there probably is.
For sure.
There probably is.
I've never seen such fucking ignorance in my life.
But we don't have that as much in Canton.
not so
even
much.
even
thank
when
God.
the bands are so different, even if it's a death metal band and a country band and a rock band, you know,
Sure.
like I'm really good friends with Ryan Humbert. He's a country guy. He just played Nashville's Grand Ole Opry, and he's doing great. We have nothing in common as far as that music because I don't love country stuff, and he might not love the hard rock
I get
stuff.
what you're saying. I love Donnie Casey.
Right, and he's the same guy, and you're the same kind of guy. I mean, he's doing country and stuff, but then he drums with Night Goat, or like and everybody
Did.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
But yeah.
All I'm saying is, everybody at the core can just see another musician and go, "We're brothers somehow." Like even if you're not going to guest on my next record because it would be too awkward, I'm still happy that you're doing this stuff. You know, my friend Lauren Massetti was on American Idol and is doing really great. And I theoretically could say, hey, do you want to sing on one of my records? Because it would be like a pop. But it would be like, I'm not going to do that because it'd be too weird. But I'm glad that she's doing great. And anytime something cool happens, I get a text like, oh, congratulations for that thing you did. And it's really neat.
For instance, here, like shit, I've done it. Like Jeff and I were in a band together, Last Catastrophe, and then we weren't for a long time, and now we're in a band together called Abandoned Vehicles. You and I did shit for years, Scott, and then we didn't for a long period of time, and now we're doing a podcast again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like
but anytime you would start another band, like when you started Neckbeard or any other thing, I was for it, man. Like I'm a big fan.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
a supporter. I'm like,
Anytime
those guys are my
anyone's doing stuff,
friends.
for sure.
Yeah, and maybe it's helpful to have people hear us say that from the outside looking in, it looks like one band broke up, and you instantly assume, oh, they must hate each other. It's like, no, they just want to try some different things.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to play with a new batch of guys and get some
now
new
there are bands that break
perspective.
up where it's bad blood and stuff.
There
but-
is.
but-
And even that, they'll give it 5 years.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
washes away.
Like,
and
knock
then
it off.
Them guys end up becoming friends again and doing something. I've had it happen. Everybody has it happen. You know?
Oh,
That was it. That was the moniker with Dysfunctional Ray for sure, because at that time, for an original band to be together for over 9 years,
Right.
was unheard of.
Unheard of.
Nobody was doing that. Like what? Like everybody was, bands were staying together for, 6 months to a year and a half.
I used to use it as an argument when people are would say cover bands versus original bands, whatever. I'm like, I've been in a cover band for like 12 years. What original band have you been in where you can say the same? Like,
Right. Well, and here's why. Because you're taking away the reason to argue. You know what I mean?
like, meh.
I think maybe when you're in a band that's just creative because you're making something together, the tensions get harder.
Sure.
If you maybe fight over the way a song should go because you all feel like you co-own it. It's like your child that you're sharing. But then maybe with a cover band, you're like, well, if we don't like that song, fuck it, we'll play a different song. It doesn't matter.
Right, right.
Maybe it's a little more fun for those reasons sometimes.
I also like rubbing the money in their face too.
Well,
like, I made $500 per person.
What'd
for
you make?
that night.
Gas money?
Yeah. How was that splitting that $100 between
hey,
six people?
You know when you guys went to rallies afterwards and had to share a combo meal?
But we got free draft beer and the hangover was free.
But we can only make that joke because we've done it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I played Sadie Renee's on a Wednesday for 50-cent draft
yeah.
night, and I walked out with negative money in my pocket because
And
I bought
and
more.
a massive headache.
And
the
a
next morning.
massive fucking
Yeah.
Merv would kill us. But so we live that too, and I think maybe that's the only reason you get to poke fun is because I did that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've dealt my.
And I still do that. I would, when Buzzbin was around, we'd go play Buzzbin for 20 people on a Saturday night because we couldn't get more people to show up. And the very next night, like you and me would play, we make $1,200 and the whole place was packed, but it was a different kind of night. We were playing different music, stuff they'd already heard
Or there'd
of.
be like bands that we've like really tried hard and would like be out at the malls and all this place handing out little
plastering
flyers and all this
flyers,
stuff or whatever, and we'd get like, I don't know, like $180 that night. We're like, whoa. Yeah. And then there's like some band that like a couple of us didn't even practice or anything. We threw a goofy name on it, like People Die and I Don't Care.
And we
didn't practice. We sold it out.
Sold out
what was that? We made like, it was like $800 some dollars or something. I remember that time we were like, none of us has ever made this much money ever.
What do you mean
like,
you paid us? We never have a paycheck here.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And I was like,
What do you mean Merv's got a check?
I was like, it goes. You know,
Choking my ass.
You choking my ass?
you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into stuff, and no one gives a shit. But you write off something on some shit paper, and
Jeff,
they just eat it.
Jeff, do you remember that group? People Die and I Don't Care.
Baker's still there, or did he go to Giant Eagle? Where's he?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay.
Kommodi.
That's the fart sound. No, Ryan couldn't be with us today.
I don't really see Baker at Giant Eagle anymore. So anyway, no, yeah, I was there that night. Scott, go ahead with the.
So Joe and I and a guy named Mike Hardy who used to play bass.
Hardy.
He used to play bass in Kill Franklin. We had this idea to start a joke band similar to, forgive me everyone, Anal Cunt.
Yeah.
Remember the band Anal Cunt? I know it's not flattering, but they used to have these 10-second.
What was their name?
It was at the time.
It was Anal Cunt. Sorry, everybody.
Send all your complaints at Scott Paris at bluewaffle.com.
So
you got that. Then you got Ass Vag. I mean,
oh my God, right? I can't win with these fucking band names, Jeffrey. But Jeffrey. So we thought, I went and saw Anal Cunt in Cleveland, and I was like, what a great gimmick. Boys, we should do a thing where we play 30-second blast death metal with nonsense lyrics and nonsense guitar riffs.
Yep.
And all we're going to write before the show is the set list. We're going to come up with song titles. Like the goofiest one was Restraining Orders Can't Hold Back My Love for You. I mean, just like whatever the stupid stuff.
My love for you is waiting outside your window with a rusty hacksaw. With
Those were so Mike would write this list of terrible, funny song titles, and
there's one of them. I remember like catchline. There was something blah 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 blah, and then P.S. I jacked off in your mailbox.
Yep, yeah, that was our hit.
Yeah.
So none of these were real songs with music, but the whole gag of the show was we'd go. Rah, 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 rah. All right, thank you, everybody. The next song is called, and he'd say the name off this list, and people would laugh. And by the time they laughed, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, our next song is called, and that was the joke.
Yeah.
And we sold Sadie Renee's out on a Sunday.
That's crazy.
Packed room.
Packed. There was no
I was
more
in
room.
Mainline. We couldn't do it.
Nope.
He was in Kill Franklin. They couldn't do it. Joe was in bands. They couldn't do it. But as a joke, we were
joke.
like, "You're fucking kidding me."
Yep.
We didn't even try, and
crazy.
they like this more than our real
It was
band.
such like a weird slap in the face.
It was such a slap in the face. And then Mike goes, "Well, now that we got their attention, maybe we should write a record." And I'm like, "That's it. The band's done."
Yep,
and we never played.
It's
it
over
again.
with. Done. I gotta go to Columbus, guys. See you later.
Yeah, see ya. I gotta go to my day job.
Hey Jeff.
Yeah.
It's Ricky Hart.
There it is.
There it is. Ricky Hart.
Oh, so
It just came to me.
So Jeff, a couple episodes back, the boys and I were discussing about moments on stage where, like for instance, there was a time where Scott was doing a gig with a Nirvana gig, and he goes to like break the guitar, and he broke the guitar and decides to throw it out in the audience. And as he throws it out in the audience, he realized it's still attached to his like amplifier, and then
I know exactly where this is going.
He had to make like a quick dive to like
Save
stop
my
that.
shit because it was flying off the fucking.
Oh, my pedal board's
And
going.
you being one that's been on the Warped Tour a lot there, do you have any interesting funny stories of stage instances?
Give us some gold, Jeffrey.
Come on. I think you guys all know this one. It's because the way Joe set it up, I knew right where this was going.
Segway master.
I am.
We're in Buffalo. I think it was 4 p.m. on the Vans Warped Tour. Shows from 12 to 8. And I think we were playing this day. I think we were playing opposite Green Day.
Good luck, dude.
so we're like, yeah, dude, there ain't nobody going to be watching us. And guess what? There was nobody watching us. No, we were shocked that we actually had a crowd. It was small, but maybe 50, 60 people.
Okay. I would say it was more than that. It was I do remember that day and having that feeling that like there was like, oh, this is against Green Day. It's going to be dead. And it was not at all. Which was cool.
Joe, you're right. There were more people than that, but I like to dumb it down and make it sound, because honestly, we were unknown. We were just guests.
Yeah. That's what was impressive about it, Jeff, is like you guys were out of state, out of town, not backed up by any type of like label or anything like that. But yet there was this crowd for you guys, which was fucking really cool and impressive. As
Did
shit.
you guys have a record out? I mean, could anybody have found you before that?
I think we had 2 CDs out at that point, which we sold at the merch table. So, and we did well on the Warped Tour. We sold out of T-shirts and CDs and whatnot, and had to put in other orders. But all that aside, the funny story that Joe was getting to, because I don't want this to run over. I don't know how long this podcast is supposed to be.
As long as we need. You tell the story any way you want. Say anything you want to say.
Yep.
You can edit this down, so I will give you the short. I will give it the short version. Basically, I think we were on the Volcom stage, and we were facing the sun, and it's 4 PM, and I think we had had a few beers prior.
Oh yeah.
And of course, we all know being at outdoor shows and in the sun and beaten down, 2 beers is going to feel like 6, and 6 is going to feel like 12 and whatnot. So, I mean, I was not sloppy by any means. I definitely was keeping myself hydrated. I was keeping myself watered down, and we were pumped to play our set. Joe was right. There was a little bit bigger crowd, but at some point during the set, maybe Joe remembers when it was during the set, but I got pretty, I wanted to really show off.
Yeah, this was your moment, right? You're on a big stage. You're at a prestigious punk rock festival.
Right now, we weren't rich enough or on the nice enough stage to have the cordless microphones. So I jumped off the stage with my mic. And I think the stage was probably 5 feet tall, maybe 6. It was a tall stage, but I landed. I mean, the dismount was gorgeous. I landed wonderfully, and the crowd got into it, and I'm singing to the crowd. I'm pointing to people, and I run to one side of the stage to let's go stage left and get these people pumped up, and
hype
then let's
the crowd,
run back. Yeah, hype the crowd. Then I'm going to run back stage right, and I decided to do a knee slide. Reminded me of like Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Power slide. Yeah.
The power slide when Jack Black's trying to show him the power slide, and so I tried to do the power slide. And it was going great. And mid power slide, I ran out of mic cord.
It was like a dog running on a leash, and someone grabbing it, get back here.
I kind of got snapped back like a bungee a little bit. But I think the people that enjoyed it the most were the people in the front row that saw it. I don't think the rest of the crowd noticed too much going on because they weren't at ground level.
Yeah.
So
that was the days before they had the big monitor where they'd film.
Right.
You go to a concert now and there's cameras all the time, and they have a screen so the guys in the nosebleeds can see like a TV.
The first 4 rows got the
Gallagher experience.
Got the experience.
They got your blood on them.
Yeah, they saw the show.
They got a hell of a show. They got a great laugh. The guys in the band got a huge laugh. Joe and everybody obviously got a big laugh. So, and really, it lightened the mood, and things like that make you realize why you do it. It's just because you want to be having fun, and that's why. I think Chris Bentley wrote a lyric, and the song starts out with, "And Dickerson quit his band again." And that's the first lyric in the song, and I think and that speaks volumes because I'm not a quitter. I just when it becomes not fun, when it becomes a job, when it becomes work. And you don't want to do it. Why are you doing it?
You're right. It's time to put it down. That's a great
time to put it down and walk away. So, yeah, and I think over time with the Phase project, with the whatever different projects were going on, once it becomes not fun, it's time to walk away. So, if you want to call it quitting, you call it quitting. But I just can't be any more ecstatic that I'm on the phone with Scott Paris, Ryan Baker, and Joe Middleton. And Joe and I mean, our history with Last Catastrophe and Abandoned Vehicles it's just an honor. I mean, it makes you feel like you're at home when you're, with your buddies and you're still making music after all these years, man.
Right.
I mean, I just yesterday, I get them, Waller, me and Waller and Jimmy Courtney are in a group text every, we're texting every 3 or 4 days. So, and I think to myself, God, I started with those guys in 1996.
Right.
We're going on 30 years, and but I was friends with them before that,
Yeah.
and basically all that speaks to is that I'm old.
Well, Jeff, it's funny that you say that because the Cookies in the last couple of years have only really played once a year. Like we get together and do a big festival once a year, but we have a group texting thread and we're talking all the time. And that's actually what led to this podcast was John, Joe, Ryan, and myself. Like we talk all the time and we never really stopped, especially if something's funny, like a meme or a joke or something. Like we're sending each other nonsense,
all the time.
like pages and pages of nonsense texts.
The algorithms can't keep up.
And we could go a whole year without playing together, but the friendship is rock solid, and you nailed it. I mean,
there you go.
That's
buddy.
the fun part. And then we also, before you jumped on here, we were talking about sometimes you play with musicians that they had to fill in with you, or you hired a guy for a studio track or something, and they're great players, but there's no like bedrock of friendship under it. Like they just came in with their notes prepared, they did the job, and they left, and they did great, but you didn't want to like ask them to go get a beer later or something.
Or they refused to like do it how you want to do it.
Well, yeah, or they came in and they wanted to change something. And you're like, well, we already kind of have this rock solid. You just need to play the part that was on the record, But
Sure.
But you nailed it. I mean, if you guys still talk, that just speaks volumes to I guess why we start. We all love music, but you start a band because it's your buddies, Unless you're some big famous person that really does just need a backing band, that's a different story. But guys like us, and that's why we all switch members. And one guy played with them, and now he plays with us. It's you just hey, I want to hang out with you more. Well, join the band because I'm always with the band. So just start playing with us, and then I get to see you all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we just. In our own little small way, like when you were talking about Dave Grohl, and call up, Stevie Nicks or have a jam session with Paul McCartney. It's like
on a whim,
in our own little small way, we have that here too. So it's because you feel like these guys, they're not only they're not only pretty good musicians, but they're good people, and you love them, and but I still get honored. Like I still have that feeling like, oh my God, I get to be on stage with this person,
Sure.
Like, and I never, ever want that to go away, because that's the greatest thing to me is
that's the payoff. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly. That's
Well said. Well, brother, we are going to hop off the phone with you here. And
gentlemen,
that is, we're going to wrap up this episode. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for calling in.
Everybody
Or
loves
me
a
calling
Jeffrey.
you. Yeah. So, yep. We will. We'll catch up with you soon. FaZe is going to play this summer. Sorry, I mentioned that on a thing last night. I wasn't sure if that was public information yet. I didn't say the date. I was.
Okay, no, Josh just got a hold of me today, and we're a go.
Nice.
I didn't know if I told you, but we don't have a second act right now.
Okay.
But opening the FaZe show is going to be a first time ever solo set by JC Diana.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that because I've never seen my dude play a solo set in 30 years. So
we'll all be in the front row cheering him on right before we go on.
Hey, but seriously, thanks for having me on. I love you guys all. Okay.
Yeah. Love you too, man. Be good, and we'll talk to you very soon, of course.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Love you.
See you, homie. Love you, man.
Any bands wanting to fulfill that second act slot for that show, they can send their applications to Scott Paris at bluewaffle.com.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And that's it for today's episode.
And that
kids.
will do it for today's episode of 99 Stories. And this is one as Scott tries to find our theme music.
Where's Kommodi?
So, yeah.
Say bye, Ryan.
Kommodi, send us off.
See you next week.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Get it. Boots with the squirrels.
Snapple bottom jeans, boots with the squirrels.
Everybody's looking at Hurl.